don't you understand this?
Communication issue.
Don't you understand that if this was the truth, if this was the truth, then it would make sense to everyone.
Like, you do understand that the Bible says that very few people are going to heaven. In fact, the only people that are going to go to heaven, according to Jesus, based on what I've read, is that you have to be able to do the things that Jesus himself did. That you have to be able to raise the dead. You have to be able to heal the sick. You have to be able to drink the deadliest of poisons or be bitten by the most deadliest of snakes. I think it refers to moving mountains. And it also refers to a very minimal amount of people getting into heaven.
Can I ask a question? And I'm on my phone, so I can't see the gentleman that's been speaking. All I see in his name is it says this on ... What's your name? I'll call you Guy for short then.
Guy Sensei.
So Guy, are all sins equal? I don't want to go all Darth Dawkins on you, but I'm going to ask you a couple questions here.
All right. What is up, you heathens and demons, you sinners and saints, you beautiful, blasphemous bastards? Welcome back to the Rage. John is here. Speed of Sound is here. Jefferson is here. I'm going to work some magic, and I'm going to get him on the screen for you guys. And then we might have another guest or two. Hopefully, Jay Panic will be coming up in here as well. It's not morning coffee. I did run the morning coffee intro. I don't have an evening me and John intro, but I am drinking coffee. I needed more coffee today. So, yeah. So there it is. What's up, John? And you're muted.
Yeah, you got to take that off the screen. Yep, we're back to getting the echo on fucking StreamYard when the screen share is going on. But hey, Jay, yeah, I DM'd you a link on Discord there if you wanted to join us. But yeah, hey, how y'all doing? Somebody in the chat.
You cut out, John. You muted again, John.
Oh, I must have rolled over it. Yeah, boomer. Yeah, so somebody had asked in the chat, I seen there, what are the 8 rules? Only 8 rules? Or, well, actually, I kind of cheated there. It's really all 8 rules are the same rule. Just act like Danny. But yeah, we're here tonight. We're going to pick up where we left off the other night, covering Jeff Spatchcock's stream, in which there was, some raging moments. Rage would have been proud here. And there was kind of what I would call like an attempt at an intervention with Danny, and he just wasn't having any of it. He doesn't recognize introspection as a thing.
Yeah, I've been watching a little bit, and I have to say that he appears to be the person that has so much angst and just such a superiority complex that he's literally the type of person I would have stuffed in a locker in high school. So
it's stuffed in a locker and welded it shut.
Yeah. That might be his problem. Maybe he was in quite a few lockers and he takes that out on everybody.
Well, yeah, he does seem like someone who has claustrophobia. So yeah, we're gonna pick up where we left off, but Knock let me know because he was catching up on it and watching the first part. and he wants to revisit my argument again for a little bit. And I'm just going to throw it to him and let him say what he has to say and get the ball rolling. And we talk a few minutes about that and then get back into the video.
Well, yeah, I mean, and real quick, just to let the audience know, my Wednesday's appointment was rescheduled for next Wednesday. They're making me work another week. I'm probably going to make a video, put a video out about it, just talking about just the frustrations of the American healthcare system. It's bullshit. But so all the people that's asked, I haven't been online, so I'm sure that quite a few have asked more than I know. I got another week, so I'll let you guys know on that. But yeah, I find this interesting because when John was originally telling me about this, I missed the stream. I'm getting some kind of weird echo, but it's not too bad. It makes me sound like I'm hissing. But I've had a lot of doctor's appointments. I haven't caught the last couple streams live. But when he told me about it, I was like, well, I mean, it's clearly a lie on God's part. And here is my position. And this is because I think definitions were getting blurred, and I'm not sure if they're trying to use some kind of philosophical definition. Philosophy isn't life. I'm just going to put that out there. Definition of a lie: a false statement which, with deliberate intent, to deceive, an intentional untruth, a falsehood. Does not say in that definition a command cannot be a fucking lie. Does not say that at all. That's one of the most ridiculous things I've ever fucking heard in my entire fucking life. If I was a commanding officer in the military and I commanded my troops, the troops that are under me, to go kill the enemy, and I knew that enemy wasn't the enemy, but they were innocents and they were civilians, then I lied. That command was a lie, and I'm going to be held accountable for that. So it's the most ridiculous thing to put forward, that a command cannot be a lie. And trust me, I've been reading the Christians say, hell yeah, command cannot be a lie. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's not in the definition. Outside of that, a command like thou shalt not kill. One of the 10 commandments of God in the Bible. I would maintain that is a lie. If Maury was here, he'd be telling you that was a lie, because God then goes and tells the Israelites to kill the Canaanites. Well, thou shalt not kill or go kill the Canaanites. God, which one is it? So if your argument is that God is omniscient, then by definition, when God ordered Abraham to go and kill his child, knowing that he was not going to carry out, that he was going to provide a ram, God lied. By the very definition of a lie. And anybody that argues against that, atheists, you're propping up Christians, and Christians are just coming out with shit out their ass, and they're trying to reach to philosophy because their theology makes no goddamn sense. That's what I got to say about it.
So the thing is nuanced, and when I first heard John talk about it, I would have disagreed with him. But if John and I had disagreed about it, it would have taken us about 5 minutes to work out where the disagreement was. But that isn't the case with Danny. Danny comes in from, and it's really kind of hard to define what he does exactly, but holy shit, does he do it well. He manages to turn up the heat on a discussion and take it in a direction that goes nowhere. That basically never comes around to any kind of an agreement between anybody, and that is the problem I have. And I'm giving up my evening here because I have empathy for this child.
A child's a good word.
I'm hoping that we can teach him some self-awareness, because today on my stream, I got the impression that if he looked at, he has so little self-awareness that if he looked at a mirror, he wouldn't see anything. He wouldn't see himself.
Well, yeah, and so you know this kid better than me. I've never talked to the kid, but from what I've seen, and I watched a little bit of the stream on Jefferson's channel, he has a hard-on for John. Like, is he like that with everybody else, or is he just like that with John?
He is worse with John. It's John, me, and who else on my channel? Shit. There's a third who he does not like.
Midnight,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he probably really would like me.
Oh, and then today on my channel, he said that he hasn't learned anything from me, and I've learned a lot from him because this little wet behind the ears punk claims he taught me what normativity is.
Yeah, he's very green, very green. And I am seeing in the chat, is this an open room? Sadly, this is not an open room. We are going to be reviewing a video, and if we get too many people in here, we won't get too much done with it. But it's Saturday. I'm thinking maybe an open room tomorrow. I'll put out it'll be announced on YouTube. I'll try to put it out early enough so everybody knows. But yeah, I'm thinking maybe an open room tomorrow night.
So I do want to say, though, it's not an open room, but I see Simus Funk is in the chat. He was in on that Jefferson Spatchcock stream. If you, Simus, if you want to join us, I can send you a link on Discord. Just let me say something in the chat there.
Yeah, I think we do have. I do have room here. Let me see, for 6, and so Jay should be coming in. You said that Cerberus probably wouldn't make it, so yes.
Yeah, I don't know if Midnight even. I didn't say anything to Midnight.
I can put more people on the screen, but I would have to work at it. So, but it is possible.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and then what you were talking about there. We're going to see in the video some of that because, like I told you before, there's several people that, and they're not. None of them are really going. None of them are going overboard and being a dick to him. I mean, he worked Jefferson up at one point when they were talking that he kind of flipped out. But when they were down to the point of where Serb and Jeff and Simus and I don't forget who else, Peter, I guess, they were talking to Danny and trying to very nicely explain to him, well, you got to change this about when you interact with people, or you got to change that. And he just wasn't, he wasn't having any of it. I mean, he wasn't really listening to him.
I'm messing with my screen. I messed my screen all up. Yeah. And so with Danny, I've never talked to the kid. I'd be interested in it, and I'd probably lose my patience really, really quickly. But
I'd love to see that.
It seems like he's got a superiority complex. He thinks that he's superior to everybody he talks to, and we kind of come across this with even people that I've liked, and even with myself. I've just been thinking about myself. Man, I think really highly of myself sometimes, and maybe sometimes I shouldn't. And I think that's something that, as human beings, that's something that we should be reflecting on. And especially, if you have a large number of people telling you a thing, maybe start looking inwardly instead of outwardly.
Yeah, I'd kind of like to have a conversation with Danny, maybe one-on-one. If he'd be interested, I don't know if he's watching tonight, but if he'd be interested, Danny, you should send me an email if you want to have a discussion. If you're interested in any particular topics. But
yeah, I'm definitely interested in it, but it would be a month or so down the road. I'm still not trying to come back and talk to assholes yet. So
I've had a couple of one-on-one conversations with them, and they go pretty well. But I have to be careful not to, basically to interview him more or less, rather than push back at all. But it's gone pretty well if it's one-on-one. But when I bring him into my streams where there are other people there, it's just unmanageable entirely.
Well, if he gets triggered over something like a semantic mistake or something like that, and he's just gonna kind of fixate on it. Yeah, I could see.
Yeah, you have to steer him away from that gently. If you try to push a little bit too hard, you're going to end up with a shitstorm. So,
yeah, I think that's one of the things that seems to kind of block him from and I don't know if that's because I think he said that he used to be a believer and now he's not so much, but he still kind of argues within a lot of the same kind of some apologetic rhetoric that I've seen before. But it seems like that kind of jumping on somebody to try to get them into a hyper specific term, is I mean, if you really want to narrow down the definitions so that you can be very precise about what you're talking about in a debate, that's useful. But there's a fine line between needing to do that and then just sort of allowing someone to use a word in the context of the phrase they use, just sort of colloquially, and that doesn't always that and if you lose sight of that because you want to check every single term that someone's using, it just gets exhausting, and that frustrates people. It's really hard to continue a conversation that way.
Well, and that's something that that Dragnot told me a long time ago. I don't remember if it was on a live stream or we were just having a chat together, but he said, what's the point of arguing over terminology? Just set your terminology. If you don't understand what the person, means when they use a term that doesn't sound right to your ear, you just ask them what they mean, and then the conversation can continue. But if you get bogged down in definitions, you're never going to have a conversation.
Well, the weird thing that you tend to see, and I mean, you see it with kind of like Darth Dawkins. If you spend any time watching any videos about his interactions on Discord and stuff, where it doesn't matter if it's interaction with him or with some of his kind of followers, acolytes, whatever you want to call them. But like when somebody asks him, it's usually a skeptic. If they ask a question like, "Well, what do you mean by this term? How are you defining it?" and one of them flips out and just takes that to be some kind of diversionary tactic, they just automatically assume the worst motive in their interlocutor. And it's like, what? Wait, are you sure that's what's going on here? Now, if that is happening, then you need to suss that out. If it's not happening, you just blew up on somebody for no reason. So either way, define your term. Don't lose your shit and assume that this person is trying to goad you into something or is challenging every word. Now, there are people that can get overly semantic and start, especially if they do it more than once. Like, okay, we already defined this term and they're coming back at it and trying to twist into something else. You can see people doing, pulling maneuvers like that. But in general, I tend to see it more so, I think, in the interactions that I've seen, where it's usually kind of the YouTube apologist is freaking out because a skeptic, an atheist, or even somebody from another faith is asking for clarification of a term, and the assumption is that they're doing that to delay or to deny answering a question, or to steer the conversation in some way.
Did anybody notice that Pine Creek had another interaction with Darth on his channel?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
That's good.
All right, so I've been messing with the screen. Sorry, audience. John first mentioned 4 people, and then he's like, all right, maybe 6. So I got to set up real quick for that. But now I got to set up for 9, so we can have 9 people. So like Midnight, if you want to come in, Simus is here. Jay, if you want to come in, there's plenty of room for the people that were involved to come in. But I'm also just now realizing, John, I didn't do anything for the share screen, so I'll have to be messing with that as we go.
Yeah, well, we can vamp for a few minutes while you're doing that.
Well,
yeah, hey, Midnight,
ahead.
I sent you the StreamYard link on Discord. I figured you might want to come in, so I sent the link. If Midnight comes in, we could probably just keep it at that, Knock. Just from the standpoint of it'll take forever to get through it,
Well, I've already got it set up for 9 now, so I'm not changing it again.
Oh, I'm not telling you to change it. I'm just saying, because there could be more people. Because I had sent the link out to Serb too. Maybe he'll come in, and Jay's not in here yet, and he has a link as well, and he said he'd be in a bit. So we'll probably not need those spots anyway. So.
All right, we got enough room for 9, so feel free to come in. I'll keep it like that. I'm going to be working on this screen as we go. Let me get it back here. Sorry, I thought I had it all set up, and I just realized, no, I didn't have the review screen set up at all, and then the numbers kept messing up. But we will get there, y'all. But yeah, we can get right into the review, or y'all can shoot the shit. I'm good. I've got time.
Yeah, we'll shoot the shit till you're ready. But yeah, you got to give Knox some time to get back in the swing of things. He hasn't been doing it for a while, and you're probably used to me and Knock are fighting over bringing people in the room. I thought he was busy, so I.
Yeah, that just happened. By the way, thanks for the link.
You guys have to be used to this because, like the last couple of weeks where I've been doing streams, it's just been boomer fuck ups for like the first 5-10 minutes of every video. So
yeah, well, I mean, I guess it's always fun to quote unquote beat up on Danny. I say quote unquote.
Yeah. Well,
I've never gotten to beat up on him yet, so I must have been missing all the fun.
Oh,
and I gotta say, I'm interested in having a conversation with him. I'm not interested in beating up on him.
Look, Jeff. I've tried to have a conversation with him, and it just I gotta respond to the last thing he said on in Discord, either today, either tonight, or tomorrow. But it was like, uh, I don't know. I guess we could talk about it when when we watch the video. But like one of the things that we were talking about is that he told me I'm more focused on the meta, rather than his points. I tried to tell him that how he presents himself, causes people to, to not really take his points, not not seriously, but just the way he comes across. His points get lost in the way he acts. And I tried to tell him that, tried to tell him that, that he needs to work on the way he presents himself, so people will be more likely to listen to his points and understand them. And he said, "Well, can you back up that claim?" Yeah, con men. Okay, I tried to use the example of con men, con men, are able to present their points, well, but that doesn't mean they're good points. You know what I mean? They're able to get you to convince you that their points are well. And then he wrote something that I didn't really read. I don't know. I need to go back and read, but yeah, he didn't really accept that my con men example.
I mean, and like Jefferson, like Speed alluded to, if you have a one-on-one with him, it'll probably go well. I mean, the one-on-ones that him and Speed have had, it's when he's, it just seems to go awry when there's like a group of people, and then like if I happen to be there, it goes awry because like he fucking knows what to say and be riled up and everything. Hold on, Midnight.
Okay, sorry.
Remember we talked about this.
I know.
But yeah, but you got to admit, Speed. I mean, or not Speed, Jeff. That the other night on your channel, he kind of fired you up a couple times too.
Yeah, he did.
Well, I do want to point out that a little bit of that was you were participating in. So.
Right, but. Yeah.
I mean, granted, like, I mean, you guys had both kind of triggered each other. So, but yeah, he was the one that I targeted, and I was like, well, I mean, it'll come up in the video.
Like as soon as I came in, he went after me, right? It's like, okay, what the fuck, dude? I was just saying something,
Who did?
Yeah, Danny, remember? Because even John pointed it out. I couldn't remember. Yeah, I can't remember the exact point that he jumped on you for. But yeah, it was just like, this is getting it was just getting hard to track. It was like nobody was getting a point completed or really getting anything across. So it's just getting tough.
Well, I mean, there was another stream where like he went after Midnight. I had explained something. And I can't even remember what the discussion was about. I explained something, and then Midnight. Oh, we were talking about Darth Dawkins. So I was describing, Darth Dawkins' tactics, and when I got done, Midnight's like, "Yeah, that's spot on, John," or something like that. And then Danny interjects and says, "Well, I doubt you even understood what John said." And and at first I'm thinking, "Oh, nice, go after Midnight," And then Danny says, "Well, no, I didn't even understand what you said." But then,
I remember that.
Yeah, but then he went on to critique what I had said. Like, wait a minute, I thought you said you'd understand me. How can you be critiquing me if you didn't understand what I was saying? Like,
well, this whole thing, this whole conversation, what I saw of it, and when John first told me about it, like I was like, it sounds like people just need to go and talk to their grandma again. If it's possible, just go ask your grandma what a fucking lie is. Because it seems like people forgot what their grandma told them when they were a goddamn kid. Or maybe it's just a generational thing. And these kids nowadays, these younger folks don't have the same understanding. But it seems like, as I was watching it again today, that thought crept right back into my mind. And it's like, how is this even a conversation that we're now debating over whether or not a fucking lie is an actual lie, and we're trying to use philosophy to justify that. It just blew my fucking mind.
Yeah, I like to add a couple things, right? Today, while I was talking to him, I pulled a Danny and said, "I don't know what that means," and he didn't understand I was pulling a him, right? He explained.
So,
And we will be getting to the video, guys. We will be reviewing a video. We're just shooting the shit.
Sorry, I needed to laugh.
just to give you an idea of what we're up against here, the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy has a 30-page article on what a lie is, lies and deception.
Can you link that? Because that's fascinating to read.
That's exactly the fucking problem with philosophy.
No, I know. And rage. If I can rage a minute, my minute myself. Danny is the reason why people hate philosophy.
Yeah,
and that's why I don't like him.
Exactly.
So, hello, agnostic pagan mom.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Mom.
Oh, is it back to mom?
I was looking. I'm like, is she in the room? Like,
She says she can't be my mom because she's younger than me, but I told her time loop, Vinda loop.
Hey, Speed, would you mind linking in the chat? Or I suppose I could just look at it myself, but yeah.
I'm working on it.
All right, fair enough.
So, yeah, I mean, and then as we'll see, I forget. No, we looked at the point already where the whole room was talking back and forth about a lie and deceit and deception and all that stuff, and then Peter came in the room, said essentially what I had said, and then Danny was like, "Oh, I can agree with that."
Yeah, I noticed that, John. Like, that stuck out to me, and a lot of people were the same way. It wasn't just Danny, and he essentially said the same exact thing that you said. And the part of your argument that was spot on, and I think that they were just kind of dismissing was you brought up God's omniscience. So
yeah.
As a human being, if I make a if I make a statement, go do that, and then I change my mind along the course of that path to doing that. Well, that's just me being a human being. God isn't a human being. He's omniscient, right? So God knew. He knows everything. He knows the future. He knows the past. He knows the present. He's everywhere. He knows everything. He knew what he was going to do by that detail. And John, you laid it out perfectly. That is a lie. That by the very definition of a fucking lie.
Yeah, but also, what else was I going to say? Oh yeah, also, what you just said reminded me that kind of proves my point. How you present yourself is how you understood. John, John said something, then Peter said something, and then he agrees with it. So somehow Peter presented the point better than John, and Danny accepted it.
Or Danny is just disingenuous.
That too.
It's one of the two. But we will get to it. When we do get to the video, it's only going to show me and John. So I'm going to try to remember this whole damn stream to not only get rid of the video so we can talk without an echo, but also to switch to this screen where everybody can be seen.
Well, we're all using avatars anyway.
Yeah, so. I haven't even looked at OBS in so long. Like, I thought, man, everything's jacked up, and I don't even know how it got jacked up.
You're out of practice.
Yeah, it's been a while.
So, all right, and then are we going to use speed rules?
What's that?
Foreskin, if you want to stop it.
Yeah, I'll try to remember. If I want to stop it, I can just stop it. So.
Well, right, yeah, you can stop it. But like, how often do you hear somebody yell foreskin?
I like it. I mean, it's an atheist channel. It's perfect.
Yeah, I mean, foreskins are one of God's favorite things.
But all right, so thank you everybody for being here. And then I know Jay said he might come in, and then we might have one more. I can't remember who, John, but should be lively. We'll try to get through as much of this as we can. And I would try to remember. I'm going to try to keep up my screen, so I will remember to do what I need to do. But we'll get right into it. We're just going to deal with what I got. So here we go. You guys will be able to hear it. Come on. There we go.
Oh, P Mars is here and he's starting to shit. Get rid of him. God, somebody get rid of him before he gets any more letters out. Get rid
John
of him.
should answer his question. That's a good question. He's not going to.
Right now.
Carib has asked a good question. John should answer it.
Right. Okay. So if God gives a command, all right, and I agree, it could have the word wanting or not have the word wanting. I don't think that's particularly relevant. But if he commands Abraham to do this, right, he may have a reason at the time which he thinks is justified for commanding the reason to say that. All right, and he could actually want to test Abraham, which is why he commands him to do such action. Then at some later point, all right, the situation is different, and God's wants to change as a result of the free will of Abraham climbing the mountain and going.
Okay, wait. Hold on, Simus. But he's fucking omnipotent. Okay, he can't change his mind at a later date. He already knows what's going to happen before it happens.
No, he can change because he has to wait for Abraham to have his free will moment before he can then command Abraham anew.
He already knows how Abraham's going to handle that free will moment.
No,
but in order for Abraham.
All right, so let me get over here and let me take.
And by the way, Knock, we are all on screen.
No, we're not. You're seeing. You're seeing.
Yeah. StreamYard. Yeah, you're right. I always forget that.
All right, so if your position is that God is capable of changing his mind, then your position is that God is not omniscient.
No, that wasn't what I was saying, actually, Ray. All I was saying is God can say to Abraham, do this, do X, right? Go and kill your son. And then in order to test Abraham, even though he knows Abraham is not going to do that, he needs to wait for Abraham to decide that he is going to follow or he's not going to follow God's command before then issuing another command for the way that God wills things to be. So I'm just saying that it's not entailed by God commanding something, that is what he thinks his own will is. He could be doing it for other reasons.
Yeah, there's actually, Simus is right. There is a, I don't know how common it is, but there is an apologetic that, in order to kind of defend this idea to believers that, if they get conflicted, that God is trying to deceive Abraham in the situation. The idea is that God knows exactly how things are going to work out, and he knows what he ultimately wants, right? And he knows what kind of man Abraham is, but he needs Abraham to have this experience. Well, he needs to tell him this, to go through these steps in order to get him into a frame of mind so that he can set up the next scenario so that he can ultimately get what he needs, what he wants to happen. That's the apologetic anyway. I think there's weaknesses to it, but
a lot of weaknesses to it. A lot of weaknesses to that. So either way, so this whole thing is a weakening of God. All right. So even if you're not taking away his omniscience, then you are taking away his omnipotency. So if God is restrained by his plan, then he's not omnipotent. Now, also, if the lie is part of the plan, it doesn't take away the fact that it's a lie. God knew that he was telling a mistruth to Abraham to test him. That is, by definition, a lie. Just because it's part of the plan or God is restrained by said plan doesn't take away the fact that it's a lie.
I kind of agree with the second part. He's definitely manipulating Abraham, but it's not necessarily the case that because for whatever reason, he feels he has to manipulate Abraham, that takes away from his omnipotence or omniscience. The weird thing is that somebody following the omnipotence thing, especially when it comes to dealing with humans, could say he could alter Abraham's heart, much like he did with the Pharaoh. Like he hardened Pharaoh's heart when Pharaoh was ready to release the Hebrew slaves. Why couldn't God kind of just adjust Abraham's sensibilities accordingly? For whatever reason, he has to guide him through this little scenario in order to change his mind. That's the weird part about it, and he's definitely manipulating him. So there are elements of deceit involved here.
Well, no,
but
the text itself is pretty explicit. Sometime later, God tested Abraham. He said to him, Abraham, here I am, he replied. Now, this is God talking. And later, it's going to be an angel talking. We'll talk about that as well. Because there can be a way that this isn't a lie. And we'll get there. So sometime later, God tested Abraham. He said to him, Abraham, here I am. God is speaking. Then God said, take your son, your only son, whom you love, Isaac, and go to the region of Moriah. Sacrifice him there as a burnt offering on a mountain I will show you. Now, right there, that is the lie. Right there. He is telling him the definition of a lie is a false statement with deliberate intent to deceive. He is giving him a false statement because God is omniscient. God knows that he is, whether it's a part of the plan or not, God is giving a false statement with the deliberate intent to deceive. He is deceiving Abraham, and it gets to it later. Why is he deceiving Abraham? Because he's not omniscient, he's not omnipotent, and he doesn't know Abraham for dick. This was a test, and this text is very clear about this. This is a test of Abraham because God did not know if Abraham feared God. So he sends an angel of the Lord to speak to him instead of God responding back at the end of, like when he's about to kill his son. So Abraham, when they reached the place God had told him about, Abraham built an altar there and arranged the wood on it. He bound his son Isaac and laid him on the altar on top of the wood. Then he reached out his hand and took the knife to slay his son. But the angel of the Lord called out to him from heaven, Abraham, Abraham. Now God spoke to him the first time. This time it's an angel. That could be an issue there, but we'll continue. Abraham, Abraham, where the fuck am I at? Do not, where the fuck am I at? God himself, for blah, blah, blah. All right, the angel of the Lord called Abraham from heaven a second time and said, what the fuck? I got lost in my scripture here. So Abraham called that place the Lord will provide, and to this day on the mountain of the Lord it will be provided. All right, okay. Here I am, he replied. And that's God speaking. Here I am, he replied. That's the angel speaking. Do not lay a hand on the boy, he said. Do not do anything to him. Now I know that you fear God, because you have not withheld from me your son, your only son. So this is God speaking through the angel. That would be the Christian interpretation. And God is literally telling Abraham that he did not know him. He did not know if he feared God. And by his willingness to sacrifice his only son, now he knows it, and that's why the plan changed. So that would make it not a lie, is because God is capable of changing his plans, because he's not omniscient, he's not omnipotent. This text is very plain about that. God did not know Abraham for dick, because he couldn't see into him. But here's the issue, is because this whole angel of the Lord, when it was God that gave the original command, and it's a different being altogether that comes and stops it. To me, this is not really a God lying. It's just people misrepresenting the text. God wanted Abraham to kill his son and ordered him to do so. Another being saw how heartless that was and stopped Abraham from doing it.
Okay, well, there's several apologetics, and this is the issue, really, I think, with Bible criticism. They've always got some kind of apologetic by which they can go and reinterpret the words that are plain to mean something in light of.
Well, they can apologize for the text, but they cannot take away what a lie is. That's my point, and I believe that's John's point. I'll let John speak for himself. A lie is a lie. It doesn't matter. Like if God does it or if a human being does it, it's a lie.
I understand what you're saying. My point being here is, let's consider the other alternative, right? And this hopefully will describe what the Calvinists think about God's decretive will, which is to say that if Abraham had responded to God in the first place and said, no, I'm not going to do that, God, then God would have had a plan for that as well. And he would have said, okay, now I know, and we would just jump to the end. Now I know you're a good and faithful servant, etc., and you fear me, all good. But the point is, unless God says in the first place to go and sacrifice your son, right, then he's not giving Abraham the opportunity to do one or the other. Right? And both ways prove exactly the same thing, right? So the whole story is bull, right? Don't get me wrong here.
Yeah, it's all shit.
And I'm not saying that it's not deceptive, but to put the question across, like, would you, go and do this? I'm God, go and do this, this horrible thing. and that will prove to me that you're a faithful, or you fear me. Okay, and I see that, and that's one way. But of course, God knows both ways. The omniscience doesn't just apply to the one choice that was being made; it applies to the counter choice as well. And it's just a question of saying, Abraham, you have a choice. What is your free will? Okay, once you've made up your mind, then God knows both paths, right? So it's just a matter of Abraham saying whichever one he chooses, and then
okay. But wait. Let me stop you there. I want to clarify something. I want to get a clarification of something you just said. Hold on.
Okay.
Okay. Because here's the thing. Okay, and this is another apologetic. This is like I would, and I'm probably wrong in categorizing it this way, but it's basically a theory of time that applies to God. Okay, God, as you were saying, didn't need to see how Abraham was going to react in that situation, because he already knew how he would react. Because, and hold on, because the apologetic is that humans still have free will, okay. But the reason that God knows how a human will choose is because of the way God experiences time. You're right. Abraham still had the chance to make the choice, but God saw it in a different time frame. He saw it before Abraham ever made his choice, but he saw it as Abraham made the choice, but he saw it beforehand. So God, when it came to the time, he knew what Abraham was going to do, because it was no choice in the mind of God. He already knew how Abraham was going to react even before Abraham was born.
Well, and that's
right, but that wouldn't change the fact that he needs Abraham to go through the experience.
That's not the apologetic, by the way, John. Carry on. Sorry,
I mean, I've had more than one Christian explain it to me like that, but trying to defend free will. So,
well, and my statement was, like, this is taking away one of the O's, right? So it's either omniscient or omnipotency. But as we get deeper into this, and I know we're going to be hammering on Danny, and I'm not trying to, but like this is my thing is we need to just be real about this as we hammer further into this. God continues to get further and further hamstringed here, and his power gets further and further in deficit. So now he has to wait until free will is carried out until he can actually see which path is going to go. So multiply that. See, that must have been really easy for God back when it was just a few thousand or however. But multiply that by 7.58 billion people now. All of us making our free will. God is really hamstringed now at this point in time, wouldn't you say?
No, that's not the apologetic.
Well, I'm sure it's not. The apologetic is to apologize for the bullshit here.
Well, I appreciate that, but the point being is God knows every choice that you could possibly make.
Exactly.
So it doesn't matter what your free choice is.
All right, so then we come to the original point that God knew he was lying, and he told the lie anyway, and it's a lie.
So it doesn't matter what choice you make, right? They're all part of God's plan. Right? This is a catch-all. This is a catch-all apologetic, which means there isn't this idea that destiny is set in one way. God's plan can only happen one way. God's plan can happen, 7.8 billion, choices per person of a 7 billion person choices, right?
How was that a plan? How was that a plan?
Well, the apologetic is simulation theory. So you're essentially saying that we live in God's simulation.
No, it's not necessarily.
I mean, if our free will doesn't matter, he knows every decision. I mean, the apologetic was that free will, he didn't know, he couldn't see past that moment. He needed to know what Abraham was going to do, right? So, I mean, none of it makes any fucking sense.
He knows if Abraham chooses to sacrifice his son, that he will then send the angel. And he also knows that if Abraham chooses not to sacrifice his son, that he will tell him that he does fear the Lord.
Okay, but the point is he already knows. That's the point. He already knows what decision Abraham's going to make.
No, that's not the point. It doesn't matter what decision Abraham makes God knows the outcome.
Well, but it does matter in the context of, is this a lie? And that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about God and what God knows. We're talking about, did God lie to Abraham? And what is our definition of a lie? And is this a lie? And if God knew, it's a lie.
Right. Again, it's if God knew what? If God knew all outcomes, so God always lies by that justification.
Sure. I mean, by our definition of a lie, then yes, I agree with that.
But here's where I'm getting caught up is that he knows every outcome. No, he knows the outcome of every situation. It's not that he has a contingency plan for a bunch of different outcomes. He knows the outcome of every situation before it occurs.
No, that's not the apologetic, which I've heard.
Well, I don't care whether it's apologetic or not. They're saying he's omniscient, and if he's omniscient, then he knows the outcome before the situation transpires.
Sure, and all that's to say is, again, it's not the apologetic that I've heard in relation to this particular problem. All right, now I'm not saying it's a good apologetic. I'm not trying to defend it as the correct apologetic. Right? I think the whole thing is bullshit anyway. The fact that you think someone could be omnibenevolent and omnipotent together, I think that's enough of a defeater to say this is all bullshit, right?
Sure.
So don't even get me started down that line, okay? All I'm saying is, right, they will twist the words, right? They will give what they think is a reasonable outcome. And I don't think you could say this is necessarily a lie based upon the fact that God is all-seeing or omni, whatever it was. Right?
So essentially, simulation theory. So we're in God's simulation. You can't lie to yourself, right? I mean, we can, but you're not going to sit there and just tell a lie to yourself. You might think a lie to yourself. So God can't lie to himself. So when God said it, he can't lie. So our definition of a lie doesn't matter because it's God. I mean, Christians believe in a bunch of bullshit, but we're discussing, and the discussion was, did God lie in this instance, right? And they say it about everything. They say it about, the apple in the Garden of Eden. He was talking about the second death, and you have to tell Christians and they're these Christian apologists, well, God should use his goddamn words. He lied to Samson when he told him that his power was all wrapped in his hair, and it wasn't. So many lies, but there's always apologetics because God can't lie because God is God. So a lie isn't a lie, and that's I think essentially what we're getting to is that John. I mean, if the discussion is this a lie? Without a doubt, it's a lie because by the definition, God is all of these omnis. By definition, he is. So yeah, so God knew, and it's a lie.
I don't disagree with you, but the problem is pointing to one particular example and saying that is a lie. All right. And because you can be very flexible with the context, it's really difficult to say that's the thing. Same way they say there's no contradictions in the Bible, and they've got an apologetic for every fucking sentence. Now, we can look at it from the external point of view and go, yeah, well, this is how obviously that's just bullshit, right? The only person that didn't lie in the Bible is the devils. How does that make any fucking sense, right?
Well, because, I've always maintained that God is the bad guy and Satan and the devils are the good guys.
Hey, I got to address something from the private chat. Midnight, Jefferson, even to speak. We're not, when there's only 6 of us in here, we're not doing the raise the hand thing. I mean, you just got to say it with your chest and fit yourself in there.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I watched the stream earlier and I'm all worked up. Y'all want to talk about Danny and I'm like, God damn it, let's argue.
Yeah. What I was going to say is like, maybe we could have a stream about this and other things that, that talk just strictly about, this, like the contradictions and the lies that we as non-theists perceive in the Bible. But yeah, we do need to get back to the
Danny.
Let me just address Rage thing quickly.
Go ahead, and we'll get back there. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, let me just say my point. Okay, so my point is not that this, my point is it's very difficult to point to one particular example and say that is concrete, even an internal view of the Bible, right? However, even it's not an internal critique; it's an external critique, right? And that's a problem, right? Because you need to really have an internal critique if it's to be meaningful. Okay, and I don't think this is an internal critique. I think this is an external critique.
I disagree with that.
That's something that Smokey Saint said to me a lot, and I mean I don't know if I wouldn't ever want to like be repeating shit that dude said.
How could it? Why? How could it not be?
People read the Bible. Like people read the Bible.
That's what I'm saying. How could it not be an internal critique when Rage was just sitting there and reading the actual scripture?
I've literally read the scripture.
Yeah.
Right, well, okay, let me just answer that then quickly. Right, I've had apologists say to me, I've given an analogy, right? But, it's a metaphorical sense that I'm using the word. And then when you point to the fact, well, you're using this word and it has this definition, they say, well, of course, that's how we interpret it because we're human. But the analogy doesn't extend, the human analogy doesn't extend to God. Right? So they can even use a word, right, and completely change the definition based on the fact that we're humans and we use it one way, but God uses it a completely different way, which we can't understand. That's how mystical you can push back some of these apologies, right?
Mysterious ways.
I think it gives people a lot of experience. We've seen it the last 4 years because, a certain amount of people can just go out of their way to fucking justify absolute lies from President Trump. And most of them are Christians, and they're like, it all correlates to me. Like this, it's all ridiculous. I really give two fucks what a Christian thinks. We're talking about what's real here and not their imaginary friend and that bullshit. A lie's a lie, period. Like we have our definitions for a reason. And by our definition, if you I don't know how I did that. Oh, that's a donation. Thank you, Paul Camish. A lie's a lie. It doesn't matter if it comes from God or not. And so I don't really care about Christians and their justifications or the way they walk around what is a lie and what isn't a lie, because they want to keep their delusion of an omnipresent and omnipotent and omniscient God when it's just a fucking delusion. And I don't have to sit here and stroke that illusion for them.
Well, I agree, and which is why I tend not to go too close to Bible criticisms because I just find it pointless. Right? They're going to have an apology for it. I'd much rather.
I don't though, because it's the Bible criticisms that will eventually lead them to the truth. If they're caught in their bubble. So if everybody's like, "Oh, we're just not going to do it because it doesn't do any good," they're never going to hear it. And then 20 years from now, they're never going to think about it. And that could be the moment. It could be 20 years from now, and it could be this fucking conversation right now. And they're like, you know what? That makes sense. I'm going to start thinking about this a little bit.
I can see that's a really good point. The thing that makes most atheists or Christians atheists is the Bible. Undoubtedly, and so that is a great point to make. But I just don't think that they hear it coming from atheists. They just don't hear it. They need that.
Not in the moment. I agree wholeheartedly.
It's funny
in the moment. Yes,
it's funny. It's funny, right?
You're right. I can see that.
Let's let Midnight get in. He's been trying to get in. Go ahead, Midnight.
Yeah, it's funny, right? We always talk about how the Bible has created more atheists. Well, when you think about it, the Bible has created more theists also, because there are people who, for whatever fucking reason, read the Bible and believe, but then you also have people who read it and don't believe. It's kind of weird when you think about it. But also, what else was I gonna say? Oh yeah, rage.
And I'm hype. I'm not mad at Hopefully, I'm not coming off all like I'm being all rage on you, Simon. So I'm not.
No.
Well, yeah, no. But I wanted to.
It's in your name, so I'm not going to worry about it.
Like I wanted to add something really quick, right? You said that they're delusional. Well, it's very interesting that in psychology, a religious belief is not seen as a delusion.
Yeah, no,
I find that very interesting.
I think it's and I've explained this. I think it affects everything. So people, when you talk about mythicism and they're like, scholarship, they're not with you on that. Yeah, because scholarship is an institution that's been around for generation after generation after generation. It's going to take some time to catch up, and scholarship is starting to catch up. And so I mean, it's just it is very aggravating because like. the world is ingrained to see the theist perspective because it's in our DNA as a society, because religion has infected our societies as an illness for thousands of years now. That's my opinion, and it always has been.
There are pros and like pro arguments and con arguments against religion. It honestly really depends. If you really wanted an honest,
I shouldn't drink coffee this late. I don't think I'm all hyped up. Midnight.
The thing is there's pro and con arguments, but I don't know. I lost my point now.
No, I get. Hold on. Not to put words in your mouth, but I
remember what I was going to say. I was going to say that there's people on this planet that I don't ever want to stop believing in God. You know what I mean? Like some people.
No. I agree. I agree with you. Some people desperately need it, and I know a few I won't mention.
We are going to get back to this video, I promise. The person I started doing YouTube with, and he did it. Damn it. I'm not seeing it right now, but I know that's you, Paul Camish. Thank you so much for your $5. I will read them. I'll pull them up before I get back to the video, and we'll read them next time I stop the video. But the person I started YouTube with way back in the day, long time ago, I can't even remember his fucking name anymore.
Brett Kane?
No, he was a Christian guy. I worked with a guy. He looked like Jesus. He had this long hair, this brown beard. Looked like Jesus. Looked like a hippie that had never smoked weed in his life. He was a Christian. He was this really evangelical Christian. We got along. We were friends until we weren't friends anymore. He made this statement several times that if he woke up an atheist tomorrow, like if he woke up believing that God wasn't real tomorrow, he would shoot himself in the head. He made that statement several times because he did not want to live in a world without God.
And I just want to let everybody know that Rage told me when I got here the night before we started the video, we're going to be revisiting that issue.
I was getting hot watching that shit, John.
I didn't say one word to him, but I didn't say, Rage, you got to go on there and back me up. Like, I got here and he's like, and I asked him, I said, did you watch and did you find where we had left off the other night? And he goes, yeah, I know where we left off. But we're going to back up a little bit and talk about that last shit.
Yeah. Like I don't mind just going back and forth, but can we get back to the video so we can? So we can.
Real quick, I have one question before we get back to the video. Speed, what is the Jay and Jefferson dichotomy?
I don't.
Yeah, right.
I don't believe in separating those two things. There's only one thing called Jay Jefferson.
I think I agree with that.
Yeah, I don't believe there's two of them.
Jay never shows his face on camera anymore. I think that I think Jefferson is Jay now. I don't know.
I don't even know if Jefferson's here to hear that because he said he'd be right back a little bit ago. So I don't know.
No, but he can watch. He can listen to it later or whatever on replay.
All right, we are going to get back to the video.
Hey, I'm back.
We are going to get back to the video. Thank you, Paul Camish. 2 $5 tips. He says, I want my name back on the screen. So thank you. Yeah, we want J-Dubs off the screen, y'all. I haven't been streaming a lot. He would have been gone a long time ago. And then he's like, name on stream, please, LOL. So thank you, Paul Camish. Always a good supporter.
The stream that Jay reviewed, never mind. Let's just get back.
No.
Thank you, Paul Camish.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. My bad. Sorry.
Let's not bring that up.
Yeah,
moving on. Rage is already fired up enough.
I want to talk to Bible. I want to talk to Bible, but I want to get to Fuckface. Because I can't remember his name right now, but Fuckface, because he's the one that made me the most mad. So,
you mean the little weenie?
Yeah, whatever is fucking Danny. Yeah, Danny. All right, so
the little weenie.
Here we go. It's been a good full 45-minute stop. We'll get right back into it.
Abraham, to do that, you would have to command him to sacrifice.
I forget. I got to do all this stuff. I got to add that so you guys can hear it. So here we go.
First.
Yeah.
Well, fine, but what I'm saying is he already knew the outcome. He knew how Abraham, like somebody else brought up a while ago, why did he even have to do any of it? He could see to the end before it happened and knew what Abraham was going to do. So he already knew that Abraham was loyal. I mean, so it's the whole thing is nonsensical.
You still have to give Abraham the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, I'm not even seeing how any of your situation you're pointing out as being a lie even matches your definition.
Yeah, you're right, Carabas, because he said that you have to, in order to lie, there has to be some kind of mistruth. But to have mistruth, you have to have propositions. But commands aren't propositional. And John is not seeing the logic.
Hold on. I just showed you where a command could also be a lie. Lies do not have.
You're contradicting yourself when you say
I'm
that.
not.
Are commands propositional?
Where
are commands propositional, John?
All right, I want to listen to that again. So we're at 1:15. I'm not going to go back too far. We'll go back right there. I want to hear what Danny said again.
He can change because he has to wait for Abraham to have his free will moment before he can then command Abraham anew.
He already knows how Abraham's going to handle that free will moment.
Exactly. No. But in order for Abraham to do that, he would have to command him to sacrifice the child first.
Yeah.
Well, fine, but what I'm saying is he already knew the outcome. He knew how Abraham, like somebody else brought up a while ago, why did he even have to do any of it?
Did I
he
even
could
go
see
backwards?
to the end before it happened and knew what Abraham was going to do. So he already knew that Abraham was loyal. I mean, so it's the whole thing is nonsensical.
You still have to give Abraham the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, I'm not even seeing how any of your situation you're pointing out as being a lie even matches your definition.
Yeah, you're right, Carabas, because he said that you have to, in order to lie, there has to be some kind of mistruth. But to have mistruth, you have to have propositions. But commands aren't propositional. And John is not seeing the logic.
Hold on. I just showed you where a command could also be a lie.
All right, so, and I pointed it out in the scripture there, and what Fuckface is saying there, like he's contradicting himself. Let me get it back over here. He's contradicting himself there because he's saying that there's no mistruth there. There's no ill intent, but there was, and I already pointed that out in the scripture. You know, God literally starts it off with the mistruth. If God is omniscient, and we can argue about that for hours, but that's their definition: is God is omniscient. If God is omniscient, then he knew when he said, take your son, your only son whom you love, Isaac, and go to the region of Moriah, sacrifice him there as a burnt offering on a mountain I will show you. He knew that was a mistruth. By definition, that's a lie. So, I mean, like, Danny is an idiot. And he's lying there trying to defend God lying.
Not exactly.
Well, pretty much.
He's not. No, I mean, I disagreed with him a couple of times, but I'm picking up an echo.
That's because I didn't remove it. All right, there you go.
Oh, okay. All right. I wasn't sure if it was coming through for the audience. No, I mean, the idea that God is telling Abraham to do this I think it is deceptive and it's manipulative. But I think that the thing that Danny is relying on is kind of like an ingrained apologetic that God needs Abraham. Like, it's one thing to say that God is omniscient and he's omnipotent, right? But Abraham isn't. So he needs Abraham to get guided through these steps in order to become the man he needs him to be, and to come to the realizations that he needs him to have. I think that's where Danny's coming from with this.
I think it's a little simpler than that. I think John had a broader definition of lie involving deception, and Danny decided to go the narrow route and define a lie as basically consisting of a proposition and knowing that the proposition is false and telling somebody it's true, right? So he went with the narrower one. But rather than Danny explaining that, I mean, if he's such a damn good philosopher, he should have, been able to explain that very quickly and broaden the definition of what a lie is.
And that actually brings up a good point, because one of the things that a lot of Christians will say is that one of the things that's so convincing for Adam and Eve is that the serpent is supposedly leading them with half-truths and all this kind of stuff. There's some truth to it, what he's telling them. It's not a blatant lie. And in this particular case, there is inaccuracies in the command that God's giving him. Like, it's as if he needs Abraham to be willing to commit the sacrifice, but he doesn't need him to go through with it. So he just tells him, go sacrifice your son to me. And then he knows, like, I'm going to intervene in this but I need Abraham to get into that headspace. So he's blatantly kind of manipulating him. So in that case, there's a similar kind of manipulation being done there by Yahweh that's very similar to what the serpent was using in the Garden of Good and Evil.
Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I was going to say something that I think I've missed in all of this. Okay, and maybe has me caught up, on the omniscient part of it, is that maybe things operate differently with the omniscience if God is one of the actors in the moment. Okay, so yeah, he knew if God exists and he's all the omnis he's supposed to be, including omniscience, he knew, at the beginning of time what I was going to eat for breakfast today. Okay, but God didn't serve me breakfast. He wasn't involved in me having breakfast. In this situation that we've been talking about, he's one of the actors in the situation, asking the question, so maybe there's something about that makes it different. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm just trying
I'm not going to give any ground here. So the definition of a lie, a false statement with deliberate intent to deceive. That's the definition of a lie. Go look it up. Go Google it right now. You'll find it. That's the definition of a lie. A false statement with deliberate intent to deceive. God said, he made one statement to Abraham: take your son, your only son, whom you love, Isaac, and go to the region of Moriah. Sacrifice him there as a burnt offering on a mountain I will show you. Is that a statement that is deceptive? You just said manipulative. You've said deceptive, Jefferson. That is a statement that is deceptive. He is deceiving Abraham into thinking he's going to have to murder his child. That is the very definition of a lie.
Right, but I mean, I don't think that, like, if somebody wants to get into, like, and I think this is what Danny and partially Cerberus were getting into, if they want to get into, like, linguistic or philosophical distinctions of whether or not a command linguistically can be a lie or not,
right?
Like, that's a completely different thing. That's a rabbit hole. But the idea here is, like, I mean, I don't disagree. I don't disagree that there's manipulation going on here from God. The problem is that God isn't morally culpable, even if he is deliberately lying to him, right? Because he's God. Like, the fact that he flooded the entire world and only spared Noah's family is considered a good thing amongst Jews and Christians. So the fact that he's manipulating Abraham into this scenario of, like, not actually needing him to sacrifice his son, but tricking him into thinking he needs to, is just part of the course.
We're not judging the situation by God's morality or what Christians think of God's morality. We're judging the situation by what we think is right and wrong.
Yeah, well, that's fine. A lie has nothing to do with morality, really. Most people associate lying with manipulation and all of that, and it's a bad thing. But not all lies are bad things. I lied to my daughter about Santa Claus. I misled her with a false statement, and there's nothing bad or morally wrong with that outside of the fact that I contributing to some of these false narratives in society. But perfectly acceptable lie that I tell my child every December, at least perfectly acceptable within society. So, I mean, but we're just talking about, was that statement a lie? And the omniscient part about it was, it just proves that God knew he was lying in the moment. But whether or not it was, or whatever it was, the statement itself, that statement, Scripture, Danny can try to get into God's head all he wants, although Christians will tell us atheists that nobody can understand the mind of God, but yet they try all the fucking time. Doesn't matter. We're talking about what the definition of a lie is. That statement in the Scripture, which is what matters, by the very definition, is a lie.
Yeah, but there's two different intents here that we have to look at. One is what God intended, which is what you guys were having a conversation about. But this is about what Danny intended. And if you just watch, okay, so he has this narrow definition. He's going after John. Watch what Danny's intentions are, because God don't exist. Anyway,
I still maintain that Danny's a fucking Christian. He just says he's an atheist to throw a curveball out there.
You kind of wonder.
Well, and let me just say, we're an hour and 12 minutes into this, and we're still on the lie. So let's.
Be a multi-part,
you got us back into it, John, because you started to back down, and I'm like, damn it, nope, that's not happening today.
I wasn't backing down. I'm just trying to, see the other side and find out if I can reconcile it in my head. That's
A lie's a lie, John. A lie's a lie.
Yeah. Trying to steel man my interlocutor's position, but yeah, the fun hasn't even started yet because I think the best part of what's left in the video, we might have to do a part three. We might have to do a part three is when the fellas attempt an intervention with Danny.
Yeah, I'll let it play longer. Yeah, I told you, I'd like John's not lying. I watched this fucking stream and I got hot. I'm like, man, this is what I missed about doing YouTube. I don't miss the shit shows with the Christians. I miss these kinds of discussions. Like just these are the best discussions, like because I'll go back and watch this shit. I'm firm now, but like Simus has made great points. Speed just made good points. Jefferson has made great points, and I'll learn from this and I'll incorporate it into my argumentation because the thing here for me is to learning to have better arguments. That's what I've done consistently, so that's what I'm trying to do. So yeah, I mean, I love these conversations. But we'll get back into it. Are y'all ready to get back into the? I'll let it play longer. I promise.
Yeah, none of us have had to yell foreskin once yet.
Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna let it go until somebody says foreskin. Damn it.
Lies do not.
You just said it.
You're contradicting yourself when you say that.
Not.
Our commands propositional.
Where
our commands propositional, John.
Guys, there is an argument for a false proposition. It's just which I think the one would be again in whether God is truly omniscient in this context, because it appears that he does not know the outcome. He has to change his play as the story pans out.
Yeah, so either you lied or he's not omniscient.
Okay, where's our commands propositional?
Whoa, wait, hey, stop. All right, I'm going to give you guys 30 seconds of free range ranting at each other free time. You go ahead and yell at each other as much as you want. I'm going to refill a cup and I'll be right back.
Jefferson, did you mean to say free will?
You know what, Peter? I didn't, because I don't believe in that. So anyway, I will mute myself. I'll be back in about 20, 30 seconds. Continue to scream at each other. Try not to go too ham on each other.
Does Jefferson not accept free will?
I don't believe in free will. We can talk about that later.
No.
John Peterson, what false thing is in a command?
Good question.
I just gave an example of it. Like
our command's propositional.
Just let him. Your example was what?
You work for me at a grocery store. I tell you, go out to the back room and get a left-handed broom.
Okay.
All right.
Wherein there is a false statement.
A left-hand. There's no such thing as a left-handed broom.
So what?
Well, so that's a mistruth, intentional mistruth. That's a lie.
Is the command "go get something that doesn't exist" imply the proposition that there's something that doesn't exist?
Yeah, all you're doing is giving me a command I can't actually follow.
Oh my god!
He's not going to follow the logic. He already said he was irrational.
Look, dude, I never said I was irrational. You
said you have your own logic. That's what I mean by irrational.
Everybody has their own logic.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah,
okay. That is a way of thinking about
it's hard to understand an irrational person.
Then you're a dumb fuck.
Well, I don't know what you mean. I have my own logic, don't I, John?
Well, no, but you're still a dumb fuck.
Oh, I don't have my own logic? You just contradicted yourself, John.
Did I say that?
You're looking really bad right here.
You little prick. You little fucking prick asshole.
Oh, you're so mad now. Look, the point is that everyone, according to John Peterson, everyone has their own logic, so they can't be wrong, right?
Did somebody say foreskin?
Oh, I
that's I'm probably bad at this, John.
Well, just go ahead and take it out the screen.
All right, just a second. All right, there you go. All of you guys were in the room, so when you shout foreskin, I don't know if it's like I don't know.
Right. Well, so we'll just say, hey, stop it. But look, first let me address what just happened there. If anybody has any thoughts in their head that I don't know that I was a dick there, please get it right out of your head, okay? Speed will tell you when I've gone what I call the full Tourette's, the first thing I always do after the stream is call speed and be like, oh man, that was bad. I shouldn't have done that. And not very, not nice of me to do that. I was speaking truthfully about what I think of Danny. But yeah, that's not any way to converse with somebody. That's me being weak and letting Danny push my buttons.
Sometimes you need to call an asshole, John.
I mean, it's easy to do. Like seriously, Danny gets on everybody's nerves.
I would give that a 3 on the rage scale, honestly.
Well, I mean, the other thing is I want to comment on is that, and I harbor no animosity towards Serb, and Serb's one of the smartest fucking motherfuckers I know. But like, I just don't get how him and Danny and whoever else didn't agree with me in there didn't get my example. Okay, this idea that a command can't contain a lie, can't be a lie, that it has to be a proposition. That's ridiculous as far as in an everyday conversation sense. Okay, if I say to my employee, go out back and get a left-handed broom when I'm just pranking on them, and I know there's no such thing as a left-handed broom, that's a lie, and that's a lie that's in a command. I mean, so
let me address that, John. Let me address that. Okay, so firstly, I'll make the other point, which is if you notice, Danny said, "Oh, you're so mad, aren't you, John?" I think that says a lot to his motivation, actually. But he only lets that slip once in a while, so you've got to be quick to catch that. And secondly, the point I think is that in logic, a lie is defined as a statement which can be either true or false. Right.
Well, and I'm not going to disagree with you there. But wait, but hold on. All right, go ahead.
Yep. So the point being there that when Danny's talking, he is using a specific definition which is in logic of a lie, not a.
And that's why. Wait a minute, hold on. But that's why he's a dick. That's why he's a dick. That's exactly why he is a dickbag. He is smart enough to know. Wait a minute. He is smart enough to know to discern. He's smart enough to discern whether somebody's speaking colloquially or technically or classically, and he plays on those moments to do his shtick and be pedantic and go down all these little rabbit holes. He knew what the fuck I was saying, and he decided to play his games. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Did you see what he did? Did you see what he did here? He was trolling basically, and he lit the match right here with about 4 or 5 different things that he threw at you, John, just to enrage you. And then he appeals to somebody else on the panel and says he doesn't understand. So he talks about you as if you're not in the room. And then he says, I don't know what you mean, or I don't know what that means. And that's sort of a condescending bullshit attitude. And then he says he's pretty sad right now. So he's making comments about you. So he took the discussion instead of just having the discussion about the widening of the definition of a lie to the colloquial, which is where you were kind of leaning, John. He chose to turn up the heat on the discussion, and he did it right here in this part. Now
and I fell for it.
He pissed me off, and I would have been pissed too.
Yeah. So what I was going to end with was,
hey, Speed. I don't know what you mean.
Hold on, Midnight. Wait a minute, Midnight. Silas was in the middle of a sentence.
I know I'm difficult, and I got a bit of lag. But the point I was just going to finally make was, again, the first point I was trying to make was that he gave his motivation away by saying, "Oh, you're so mad, aren't you?" Yeah. And that's what the motivation there was in stoking you and not giving it a charitable interpretation of what you're saying, John. Right? And that was the point. Now, his point was correct. Okay, if we're trying to score a goal on the other side of the pitch, but we're not. Yep. We're trying to score in your net.
Well, and I'm going to disagree with you a little bit. That was a valid point in the context of talking about philosophy and formal logic. Okay, but it's not a point in just everyday life and speaking with people. Okay, he knew what I meant.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, but okay. So let me get to the end of the sentence. You might agree with me more. I don't know. So all I'm going to say here is that you were the one that invoked. Well, I'm using my logic right now. That's if I'm charitably reading you, I'm going to say, well, it's not logic you mean there. What you actually mean to say is I'm using colloquial definitions. Right, that's really what you were talking.
Well, okay, I guess from a colloquial, standpoint, when I said I had my own logic, I'm speaking. Yeah, I understand that, but I want to clarify when you.
Well, don't keep clarifying it because I'm going to clarify it.
Well, okay, go ahead.
Thank you very much. Okay, so that's what I believe you might have said, which would have at least alleviated the concern that Danny was having at that point, right? Because he's correct about the definition of a lie in logic. That you invoked logic, he then took that to mean that you were talking about a lie in a logical way, in logical terms. Now, that's a different discussion, and this is where you'll agree with me. That's a different discussion, right, to the one you're having. Okay, and I accept that, and charitably, both Serb accepts that. But that doesn't mean that Danny's interpretation doesn't need to be quashed, because he's still wrong, all right, but just for a different reason than the reason you were making. Okay, and that's where Serb was trying to get to as well, which is why it can be quite difficult sometimes when you want to keep bringing the subject back to your colloquial definition that you were using. Not that I disagree with you. Okay.
Well, right, and yeah, I agree with everything you said. I mean, I balked at something in the beginning. I can't, but the only thing I was just trying to say a minute ago is like, and I'm not saying I thought this in the moment. It's just that I look at logic is used in speech many conversations where the conversation is not about philosophy, is not about formal logic. To me, the word logic in the context I used it was just referring to reasoning. Like all human beings have possess reasoning, whether it's good reasoning or bad reasoning. And that's all I was speaking of. I mean,
that's fair enough.
Yeah. I mean, of course, when you're speaking formally, even though you could ask 5 philosophers a question and get 5 different answers, there's a framework to philosophy and logic, but the word logic doesn't just refer to formal logic. I mean,
I get it.
Right,
and one of the things I would argue is to deal with Danny, you need to make that change, that little switch sometimes, and go, okay, yeah, right, you can call me an idiot, Danny, you can call me stupid or whatever. I was making a point upon a colloquial definition. What definition are you using? And then you can go in and destroy his argument from the fact that he's not really listening to you charitably.
You shouldn't have to, though. You really shouldn't have to. And what Danny's doing is intentional, and he's going at John. He understands exactly what John is talking about, and he understands that John is using the term colloquially. John explained to himself when what he meant by his usage of the term logic, and Danny really, I think we're going to get to the part where he just pretty much calls him irrational. So like Danny knew exactly what he was doing, and what they're doing here, and this is what apologists have to do because their story makes no goddamn sense whatsoever, is they're trying to lie about what a fucking lie is. All right. So command, he tossing out words like command proposition. Is a command propositional? Can a command be a lie? I will agree that John's example could have been a little bit better, but it was an on-the-spot example. I was able to come up with one that's better because I was able to actually think about it and really consider my example. And the example I used at the beginning of this stream was, if I'm a commanding officer right now, and I have the understanding that the people on that street are citizens and not the enemy, and yet I command my troops to go and kill those citizens, that command is a lie. And I'm going to have to possibly, our military is kind of fucked up here, but maybe I'm going to have to pay consequences for that command and that lie, right? So, I mean, to say that a command cannot be a lie to me is just fucking nonsense. And it's just another way to rationalize this brutal, barbaric God.
Oh, wait, actually, now in the commander example, does the commander know? Does the commander know that
Yes.
that there's okay?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
because I was going to give the example is that the commander could have told the troops to attack based on the intelligence. Okay, yeah.
I mean, we've seen this happen in real time, right? Like, I believe it was Chelsea Manning was the one that released the tapes. I mean, we attacked innocent civilians. Commanders gave those orders, understanding what we were doing, and then we attacked the first responders that were there to rescue who they could, and killed them motherfuckers.
Yes, but
midnight. Can you do me a favor before?
Can you
do me a favor before the next time you make a point? Midnight.
Yes. What?
Yeah. Could you cram more food in your mouth?
Is this like be mean to midnight night?
No.
Ray.
Trust me, I get ripping all the time.
Okay.
Yeah. But the thing is, though, me and Midnight, we've got a thing that goes all the way back to the drag server days when we were over there all the time, and it's just that he knows it's with love.
Okay, so fine. So basically, remember, I started with saying, Danny said in that last section, okay, oh, you're so mad, aren't you?
Yeah.
That gives away that motivation as to why he's now saying, oh, look, I can take some reasonable inferences to say that you're using a word incorrectly. Right now, that is dishonest as far as I'm concerned, because everybody else in the Hangout knew that you were using the word in a different way to the way it was actually used. I actually pointed that out to you at the time. I believe I said, well, you can't, it's not your logic. Logic is, of course, thingy. So I was trying to point you to the fact that that may be an incorrect use of the word logic, right? And that's all. But does that mean just because you use a word incorrectly that you're wrong about your main point? I don't think it does. I don't think that necessarily follows. I think if somebody has a charitable ear, they can determine that and maybe correct you if you've used the word incorrectly.
Well, yeah.
Okay? And that's not what he wants to do.
Yeah, right? That's kind of my point too. Is like, in a way, like, so the statement that John makes that everybody gave an initial pushback is the statement that I would make, and I get pushback all the time. And that is, God told a lie in this moment, right? And so the only way to really defend against that is to get as far away from the actual scripture that you can. So you have to get into this argument about what is a lie and can God lie? Can God lie? Like God is God, right? No, but but once you go and focus like a laser, which is what I like to do on that statement, without a doubt, there's no argument there. So then you once again have to start getting farther and farther away from it. Nope. Bring it right back to the point, because the point is that statement, right?
Yeah, I would concede that though, Rachel.
All right, so we're going to get back to it, because I really, it's been a long stream and we haven't gotten much to it, but I would like to see, because people are giving you some shit, I guess, John, about your behavior towards our good friend Danny Boy. Like I said, I gave it like a 3 on the rage scale. I would have been much harsher, and I would have totally told him to go fuck himself in every way imaginable, which I have done repeatedly on stream all the time. So.
I'm certainly not one giving John a hard time about his behaviour. I thought his behaviour was relatively calm considering the provocation.
I got somebody in the comments like all up like, you and R and Ron need to go on tour together. Like, it would be so great if R and Ron and the Rage went on tour together. And I'm like, R and Ron is the OG Raging Atheist. That would be great, but I don't know him like that.
I mean, yeah, he definitely is the OG. Go ahead.
And so I just want to ask. I remember you found the spot. It was 113.16 or 116.13 where we started.
Yeah, we're 2 minutes in. So we're not even 2 minutes. 1:18:05.
We're at 2 minutes in after an hour and 31 minutes.
It's been a great discussion, though.
Yeah, but this is the worst review we've ever done. The best review we've ever done, but the worst on time. Like usually, what do we run? We run like maybe an hour per 10 minutes of video.
Yeah, you're worse than my channel.
Yeah.
We are the absolute worst.
Is Praise like trying to say this is an echo chamber up in here? Because we're literally all fighting with each other. What are you talking about?
Anyway, I expected better of you and John. I expected you to get through a little bit more of the video than we do.
Oh no! Like it was I probably shouldn't have. Well, I shouldn't have got so jacked up on coffee. And I keep taking sips of it, and I'm like, stop drinking the coffee. But I shouldn't have watched it because it just got me hot. Because this is like the kind of shit that I like to talk about. God's a liar. I like the Samson example the best because that's the best lie. I think it like literally led to like Samson's delusion. I have fun with the Christians. Let's get back to it.
So, real quick though, Praise accuses you of not understanding hermeneutics.
Oh gosh.
I mean, and I'm not saying anything about his falsity there, but Praise is accusing someone else of not understanding hermeneutics. Go watch some of the dumbass shit Praise says on his channel.
I get it from all those people, Praise and Jill, and I mean all these people. You gotta do an internal critique. And like I wasn't a Christian, and I'm not possibly can't come from a Christian perspective, understand a Christian perspective. I can't read your Bible and understand it. You don't know the hermeneutics. Simply put, your Bible is atrocious, and you have to skate orbits around it to avoid how atrocious it is.
It's even worse than that, of course, because there are how many sects that have different hermeneutics.
Yeah.
So, Praise,
Actually,
all you're saying really is you're not understanding hermeneutics in the way that I understand it. And that's just a bullshit fucking argument because there are tons of Christians out there which will disagree with your hermeneutics.
I mean, that's
right?
the problem. Christianity didn't end when it was supposed to in that first generation when Jesus told them that he was going to come back. We've had thousands of years for people to think about this shit. And you're right. There's thousands of different interpretations now. Which one you choose in Praise?
Well, and here's if you needed any more proof that Praise is a grade A idiot, he responds to a comment from Jefferson. That's your breakdown at Jefferson Spatchcock. I find it suspect, like your consensuses. Well, wow. Do you know what a consensus is, Praise? Because it's not your consensus. It's not an individual's consensus, you fucking dumb nitwit.
Yeah, that is the most that is the most moronic thing I've ever heard. I stopped myself from using the R word.
Praise can only be nice so much. He can only be nice so much. He's left me a couple nice comments. He can only be nice so much because he's Praise. He's probably drunk tonight.
So
he probably is.
Yeah, probably. I actually have a quick question, unless we want to get back to the video.
Well, we do.
Yeah, you go quickly, and then we'll get to the video.
Well, okay. The question that I just thought that I just thought about, right? Like there are some people who are Christian yet become atheists, and they can say, "Oh, I was a Christian." I was a Christian. Like they're able to understand that mindset. Yeah, if you have somebody who's an atheist who turns into a Christian, it's like, do you understand the question? I'm phrasing it poorly, but.
Yeah, well, see, that's the thing. So, I think I get what you're saying, and I agree completely. I think because Christians that have never been an atheist, and I'm not saying that there's atheists becoming Christians again isn't a thing, or atheists becoming Christians. I think it happens, but I don't think it happens as hardly ever. I think it's very rare. So there's this issue that Christians have when it comes to this internal critique thing, right? Because they can't understand an atheist critique. They can only understand the Christian. Now, I was a Christian.
That's my point.
I was a Christian. I can understand the Christian critique and have my atheist critique. I don't need your goddamn. They're the ones that need to start doing some internal critiquing around here. So I think I get what you're putting down there, Midnight.
Hey, and I hate to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway, because I've always liked this person, and I'm speaking of Ellipses girl. But Stephanie Trenton, go fuck yourself with a sharp object, okay?
What the fuck?
What the fuck, John?
Well, no, she says, Rage, you are a lost soul trying to defend John, who's also lost. First of all, there's no such thing as a fucking soul. And
my soul bleeds right now.
You're a piece of shit for what you just said. So go fuck yourself.
That shit don't bother me. I get that shit all the fucking time, man. It's like
lost soul.
Stephanie, we're all lost, sweetheart. We're all lost.
She took a heroic dose and she never came down.
She might be poetic. She might be being poetic.
It could be poetic, yeah. Okay.
There's a
Well, I'm sorry.
Speed getting us back on track.
Yeah. I mean, so if that was poetic, then what I said in response is like fucking slam poetry. All right.
John is a dumb animal. Praise I am that I am. I do see that. I have to actually pull the chat up, but I can see it. I just have to pull it up. So.
The funny thing is, he thinks that the word animal there is an insult. But anyway, to get back to the video,
we've been going a while. We need to wrap this thing up, probably.
Danny said, "Oh, you're so mad, aren't you?" Okay, roll the video.
All right, so let me get it back up for you guys, and here we go. Now let me get it for the audience. All these buttons. I got my shit all chaotic now. Like I must have been reorganizing everything when I just stopped fucking with OBS. All right, so there we go. Cool.
Things in the universe is not a display of angry. I mean, everybody that's dealt with you
I have my own logic. You have your own logic. We're both right, John, right?
Everybody knows what a prick fucking asshole you are.
Oh, you're so angry.
Water's wet. Water makes you wet.
One's normative, though. But the point is that everyone has their own logic, so no one's irrational, right? Under your view.
That's normative.
All right. So, passive aggressive coughing. Yeah, I'm back. I'm back, you crazy assholes.
Why do you not accept free will, Jefferson?
Oh my god. Hey,
that's a long discussion, Danny.
It can be short.
What, free will from the Bible?
But will you let it be?
You can.
Yeah, I'll let it be. I'll let it be. I just want to know very quick.
How long's a piece of string, though, right?
Short answer, it's not real with an if. Long answer, it's okay with a but.
Depends on your definition. Depends on your definition. Libertarian free will.
We don't have to talk about it. I'm just curious.
I want to give Danny this a little friendly criticism. You remember a couple days ago when you were in a room with the answer's an atheist. I forget what his name is. Speedy. And you spent 45 minutes trying to get him to answer one question, and then I came in and asked him one time a different.
All right, real quick, I'm gonna let it play. I don't know Cerberus that well, but what I think Cerberus does, and I think he's like this master at what he does, is I think he tries to get to know his interlocutors, and so he'll placate to them for a while, I think, and just try to figure them out the way they think. And then he's going to troll the fuck out of Danny one day. I'm calling it. It's going to be beautiful. But I don't know Cerberus all that well. All right, so I'm going to let it play.
Thing to get the answer you wanted. You need to change your approach, dude.
It's not the approach. Speed is motivated.
Well, really, because I came in and asked him a totally different thing to your answer.
He's more likely to give you a straightforward answer than to me, since he's motivated.
Well, you are.
Danny.
You definitely need to work on your approach, Danny.
So, I don't know what that means.
I just want to point out, so I asked John what kind of statements can be false, right? And then you jump in and go, "Oh no, he can't answer that because that can only be propositions." Right?
Yeah, and he didn't answer it. He just stayed quiet.
Well, let him say it. That's how you get the answer.
He's not going to say it. He has his own logic, right, John?
Okay, well, I'm not trying to be psychic.
Danny can't even tell the difference between academic use.
Thank you very much, Maynard Saves.
I'll
read that at our next.
What words am I equivocating on, John?
And fucked up his brain.
Is that's going to be
when I say everybody has their own logic, did I say everybody has their own formal logic? Everybody has their own version of the.
So you're not equivocating?
I'm not equivocating. You're the one that equivocated.
Yeah, that was Jefferson. You're equivocating on logic. Most people say logic.
All right. Did you want me to pause?
Yeah. Thanks. No,
All right, there we go. And
It is fucking hard to tell, like when both people, when what person's in the room and they're on the video reviewing. It's like I have to see the beat and go. That was
and I think when we got this kind of meta thing, if the video that we're reviewing is using we're reviewing ourselves using the safety word foreskin, then we have to use another safety word like buttercup or daffodil so that we can tell who's saying what. Anyway, yeah, when Danny started doing that started kind of irritating me because he's like, Serb is making a pretty good point. Serb has done this before with guys like Jill and I don't know if he's talked about this with Praise, but he's basically tried to like check them and like, look, you need to stop assuming the motives and the assumptions and the thoughts of your interlocutor. You need to quit doing that. Yeah. Ask them a question and let them answer. And then from that answer, like if you're not sure exactly where they're going with it, get clarification, ask further questions, find out how they're thinking, track it down. Don't just start, projecting motives onto them. And that's exactly what Danny started doing. He's like, oh, well, it doesn't matter because John thinks he's got his own logic, right? When John was using the term like his own logic, he was using logic colloquially. He's not trying to say that he's established his own formal theory of logic. And Danny knows that. Danny knows better, but he wouldn't let it up. And Serb is trying to like kind of walk him through like why he shouldn't be doing that. And Danny wouldn't have it. Danny was just too addicted to trying to trigger John.
Yeah.
So like Simon had mentioned before, like he revealed his motives at that point. Like once he got John, somebody that he's tussled with before, once he got him angry, and he's admitted that that's kind of what he wanted. He just kind of kept running with that.
Well, yeah, and that's what I was asking at the beginning. Like, does he act like that towards other people in other rooms and situations? I know John says like he's completely different. Like if he goes into Christian rooms, it to me it's like he doesn't like John, and he understands John's not going to sit there and have a philosophical conversation with you. Although John understands the philosophy terminology far better than I do, and could probably get farther in that conversation than I would. I just don't go there. I'm like, fuck your philosophy. I'm talking about your theology, and they don't like talking about their theology because I think deep down inside they understand it makes no fucking sense. That's just me.
Well, yeah, I mean, it usually does, and it's sort of ad hoc applied theology in most cases. Like it will start making sense, like situationally. You can develop a theology that sort of explains why God or Jesus will behave in certain ways, like theological principles like middle knowledge and stuff. If God is omniscient, Jesus is God, then it follows that Jesus must be omniscient. They come up with this entire thing where he's like, no, he's got middle knowledge because he's human. He's got some limited, he's got some limited senses or something like that. And it's just like, okay, where the hell did you get that from? And it works in some places. They'll give you examples from the scriptures and say, well, here's an example of this demonstrates why he's got middle knowledge. And then somebody can go out and find 3 others that are like, clearly he doesn't. In these cases, like he's talking about prophecy like he knows it like the back of his hand. He knows it backward and forward. Like this guy seems, once you get into Johannine Christianity and the Gospel of John, it's like it's pretty clear this dude's divine. So there's lots of different contradictions like that in the Bible. And I don't think like Christians can kind of traffic with that stuff. The trick is to kind of like draw like whatever kind of, you don't even have to identify what theology they're trying to use. You kind of draw it out and lead it towards a conclusion that usually will end in absurdity or towards a contradiction in a piece of scripture that demonstrates that that can't be the case all the time, and that usually will tick them off. And usually at that point, that's when they mute you or kick you. But
I think that they can make it make sense to themselves. And that's why they talk hermeneutics and blah 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 blah. Like they want to jump around the Bible, and you pretty much have to look at it just for what it says, right? Like what the Bible is all you have now, right? It was first written in Hebrew, 2,300 years ago, 2,400 years ago, maybe talking Old Testament. Before that, it was all word of mouth and shit. We're so far removed from the initial inceptions of these gods, the way that they were written and how they're presented to us still. We're so far removed from that because none of this shit fucking happened.
Well, there's another facet to it too. Like somebody like me, and I've been trying to have this discussion with some of these apologists, and I actually demonstrated one of these articles to Cerberus after we weren't live anymore, And he admitted he kind of liked the argument, but I was like, look, there's a way that like somebody like me, I can reconcile the quote unquote moral irregularities of the Old Testament God in the Old Testament. I can reconcile those with an apologetic of my own. Like I've done it before, and it works, and it's consistent from the Old Testament to the New Testament. The only problem is that it violates about 3 or 4 really popular apologetics, and because it does that, anytime it presented it to Christians, it pisses them off. Even though it does in a way kind of shore up their own stuff. The only problem is that if they were to follow like the apologetic that I'm delivering, it sort of forces them into a position of like super Calvinism, and they don't. Most evangelicals, even the ones that claim to be Reformed Christians, don't want to go there.
So hey, Knock, don't forget you've got a message to read from a.
Oh yeah, all right. So let me.
From a tip, and I just want pay particular attention to Stephanie's last comment. If anybody's looking at the live chat, and my response to her, because it's overt meanness with a very subtle mockery at the end of it. But I won't say what it is.
I haven't seen it. Just a second. So Maynard Saves, thank you very much for your $5 tip. Tuned in late. How's your health? Any info on debate with Cupcake if health is good? No, they made me wait another week. Maynard Saves, so I won't know until the end of next week probably. It's torture, I tell you.
Why is
John? You have to understand that Danny triggers the mothering response in a lot of people. So,
yeah, that's what I was like. Why is Stephanie?
He triggered the mother.
I mean, so does anybody recognize the subtle mockery at the end of my statement?
If you mean to go fuck yourself one, yeah. ...
Yeah, I was gonna say like it was a subtle part, Stephanie. I mean, damn, John.
But, she's used so many dots on my channel that I had to pay StreamYard an extra $60 a month for dots.
See, when I started streaming all the goddamn time, I stopped going back and looking at the live chats. So I don't really hardly ever see the live chats anymore. So I don't really know what goes on there.
The live chats are great.
I can already tell. This is going to be a 10-part series because we're never going to get through.
I want to get to the part where Jefferson tosses his ass out of the stream.
Oh God! I remember. I don't know. I don't know whether I was there or because Jefferson got really pissed off. Like I will come to the stream, you little fucker.
Jefferson, you validated me when you did that because I was like, because I've done that a couple of times. It's just like, yep, okay, so it's not just me.
No, yeah, it was just like it's one thing for somebody to get kind of obnoxious. It's one thing for somebody to get like obstreperous. But when you start fucking gaslighting me, or gaslighting guests, that will trigger me faster than anything. At that point, it's like, nope. You want to refute something that someone said, fine. Don't tell them what they think.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad I wasn't there because John. I would have been way worse. I'd have been in my last debate with CJ. I would literally threw my headphones and walked away from my microphone so I could just curse for 2 minutes while he just blathered on.
I would like to point out in my self-defense, like any irritation that I felt towards Danny rose to my kind of like sinister level. I have not flipped out on anyone as badly as I have flipped out on Von Helton and Veckel combined. Like those two and a half a bottle of whiskey have triggered me to some epic screaming.
There's footage. There's footage of me and Jesus Freak on Brett Keene's channel. Now the channel's gone. That you can't go find it, but I know people have it. And it's my greatest freak out ever. I was piss drunk. And we were talking children in cages on the southern border, and I was the only. I mean, I call myself socialist, progressive, in a room full of just chalk insane fucking Trumpers back when that was a hot button topic. And I mean, I melted down like 4 or 5 different times, throwing headphones, cussing, screaming, punching shit. I mean, it was.
You were talking about a minute ago about like you threw your headphones down and just didn't listen to him, so you could go fucking swear about CJ for a few minutes. Like I literally, Danny came into, it was either Speed's room or maybe one of Jeff or Jay's rooms. Came in, and as soon as he got there, or he wanted to say something, and of course I knew the kind of shit he was going to say, so I deafened my computer, and then just watched when people talked and seen who was glowing, and then I'd undeafen it when Danny wasn't talking, and then I'd deafen it again when he started talking.
But Jefferson, to get to the point, like you tried to gaslight me, today, and I said, "You're not very good at this, are you?" If Danny's watching, sorry, buddy, I've been gaslit by the best, and you're not the best.
Yeah, I'm glad I wasn't there. Like, I don't need another noise complaint.
Let's listen to a few more minutes of this and then start wrapping up. How's that sound great?
As I lose along, smoke weed every day, Maynard saves. All right, let's up to there. I was telling John because I haven't smoked a cigarette in like 5-6 days now. I since I originally stopped smoking, I have smoked one or two, but I haven't had one in like 4 or 5 days, 5-6 days, something like that. I'm not keeping track of it. I'm not trying to think about it, but I'm smoking a shit ton of weed. And I was telling John because it hurts my lungs, and he's like, "You got to go to edibles," and I'm like, maybe, but I've got to stop smoking weed or I got to go to edibles. And I was telling John about that before the stream because it does kill me, and I'm smoking a lot more.
Now that it's legal, I don't really want it.
Well, I mean, I'm smoking a lot more now that I'm not smoking cigarettes, and it's because I'm.
Oh no, it's
smoking
not
cigarettes.
that I don't want it. It's just I don't know.
Do you have any idea how much THC you're wasting in that smoke that goes off?
Oh, I know.
Eat that.
Yeah. I try to. I'm an old school stoner. I try to eliminate as much of that as I possibly can.
Well, after a few years, you could scrape the resin off your ceiling and your walls, and that's always good.
I told them they could smoke me at my funeral. They'd get high for months.
Jesus.
Man, yeah. So if you decide to get cremated, man, that lucky fucking dude that gets to do that, man.
Has anyone ever done that before?
That, I'm getting frozen.
So so let's watch a couple more minutes of this, man.
All right, let me put it back up for you guys. All right, here we go.
All right,
John,
as soon as that happens, as soon as someone says you're doing this, and the immediate response is no, you're doing that, that's when we need to rein things in, because at that point things are probably flown off the rails.
Hold on a second. Am I right or not? I use the word in one fashion, and he insists on taking it only in the academic sense.
I don't know what's the non-academic sense of logic.
No, look, I don't know what you guys are trying to get on about it.
I'm just getting on the fact that Danny, this is what Danny does. I'm not the one who compared to him.
Yeah, John equivocates and confuses.
I think we need to change subjects here.
Everybody
I've
ever talked to compares Danny to Dark. But the thing is,
I just want to point out: has everybody watched WandaVision? Has everybody?
Yeah, I watched it. Right. Look, he accuses me. He accuses me.
That blew through it.
Am I gonna get a chance to finish this?
No,
he accuses me of equivocating.
John ain't fucking around.
And I finished my fucking statement.
Time to drop it, John.
Calm down, sir.
Yeah, and time for you to stop trolling as well. Calm down.
Look,
and both of you, correct.
I wasn't equivocating. I wasn't speaking about formal logic. I just said everybody has their own logic, and everybody does. Everybody has
equivocating on logic,
sussing things out. Shut the fuck up, Danny.
No.
And in order for him to be equivocating, he has to be using the words in both senses at the same time. He's not doing that.
No, he's equivocating on what I'm saying.
Danny reminds me a lot of myself when I was 15. Are you? Are you still?
All right, that's a perfect place for me to stop it right there. All right, so that's perfect. He does remind he's like that little. Again, I think I started it off with pointing out to me like he reminds me of like that kid in high school that was just so obnoxious that and small, like just small and defenseless, but he just thought so much of himself that he was such a little obnoxious prick that you just pick him up and stuff his little ass in a locker. You know, that's Danny.
I wanted to say, like, I like the part where.
Oh, you got to take this.
Oh, fuck yeah! God damn it! I always I forget that part.
That's all right. So I like the part where he says, what does he say? Excuse me, sir, or calm down, sir. It's like if you say something like that's like a John Mulaney kind of say, excuse me, sir. Like that's not going to calm anyone down if you use that tone.
I love John Mulaney.
So do I. But like, you know, even he would joke about using that kind of tone of voice, and unironically, Danny goes and does it in that case, and it's like, dude, you know that's not going to calm down anything. That's like you just painting a trigger on your face and on your chest and on your back, like, and then here comes John, like, I'm gonna kill this kid.
Yeah, like he reminds me of this actor that I grew up with, you know, like, and the kid was so good at just being that obnoxious teenage actor in all the films that he did that I can't remember his fucking name. He wasn't, you know, like you didn't want to remember the prick because he was that prick, and you're just like, ugh.
Well, so look, we said this on many streams when Danny came up, and we've said it to right to him, like on speed streams sometimes, and by no way are we endorsing violence or saying that if it happened, you know, that the person would be right. But we've always been so surprised that he has not had his ass kicked before. Like, because like you say, like, if he went out to a bar and talked as recklessly as he talks to people in streams, somebody would kick his ass.
I'm sure he has, and I'm sure he's had his ass kicked, and he probably enjoyed it. But that's besides the point. Besides the point. All I'm going to say here is, you know, when, as I said, he said earlier, oh, you're so triggered, aren't you? You're so angry, aren't you? When someone starts calling you sir in the middle of an argument, hey, you know they're trying to fucking trigger you.
I do it. Like, if I do it on purpose.
Well, that's what he does when he gets on that sorry train. It'll be.
But I've got no reason to believe that Danny isn't doing exactly the same thing here, especially given the motivation that he wants to trigger you.
Shit, the last time I went into Praise's room, dude, I was doing it to the Christians there. Sorry, go ahead, John.
Well, and I just realized something too about why I end up always talking over Simus is because his mic is a little low compared to the rest of ours. So
yeah,
like I was just saying something now that I realized, oh shit, Simus is talking right now. But
okay. Don't worry, it's the lag as well. So don't worry.
But yeah, no, I don't even remember what I was going to say. Something about him. But yeah.
Hey, Simus, I always wonder, like, when you join this? This is not like a judgment or anything, but do you usually join these on your phone?
No, I've got two computers, and one's got headphones and a built-in mic, and the other's just a mic in front of me. So.
Okay. Well, because I was wondering, because I've watched some of the ones that you do with the gaming, you know, stuff. I think you do I think you play DayZ or something like that. Or
yeah,
whatever the game is.
That's my gaming PC, which has headphones and all of that stuff in it.
Okay, yeah, because it always sounds like, you know, your voice is a lot, you know, it kind of fills the microphones, but in this one there's a lot of echo and stuff. It always sounds more distant. So even for me sometimes, especially if like other people start talking, I'm like straining to hear it, because I usually want to hear the point that you're going to make, and I'm like, damn it, I cannot hear Simus.
I remembered what I was going to say. That Danny, that's another one of Danny's, like, I mean, where he repeats stuff. Like when he gets on that sorry train, like sometimes it'll switch over to that excuse me, sir. You know, it'll be like, sorry, excuse me, sir. You know, like when somebody tries to talk when he's talking, it's like,
I can't entirely blame him for that, because I did that yesterday to Gavin.
Yeah,
he came in yelling, point of order, and I was like, I'm going to make my point. And then after a while, I started saying, sorry.
Oh no, Danny's infecting other people now.
It triggered him. I got
don't pick up these habits. Don't say sir to people. I remember going back a way, Gus, who is very eloquent to say the least. I think it was Veckel said, "Hey, calm down, bro." Right? And obviously that's just a trigger move, right? That's just a trigger move. And if you get triggered by it, more fool you, I think.
Yeah, for me, I use it when I use it. It's like icing on the cake, you know. So it's for when, like, because he got John triggered without, and it happens. When I get Christians triggered, I love it and I relish in it. So after the triggering, I'll sit there and I'll be like, "Are you mad, sir?" And it just triggers him again, and it's beautiful the second time to watch it again. I find enjoyment in those moments.
I think from now on, I'm going to make an effort. I'm going to make an effort to be more transparent in my efforts to trigger them. You just for the sake of transparency and in a kind of weird sense of charity. So when instead of saying bro or man, I'm just going to say calm down, ma'am. When I'm talking to like a
Smokey,
very,
Smokey always thought he got me. Like if he got me triggered, he was like, "Oh, I got you now. You're triggered, bro." And I'm like, because that was always my thing. You know, it's like I trigger him and I get enjoyment out of it. And I'm like, yeah, because I'm a human. It's gonna happen. You're gonna trigger me because you're a fucking douchebag, and I get triggered by douchebags.
Hey, did you notice something did not show up in chat tonight?
No, I haven't been paying attention to chat.
Yeah, I noticed that, Speed.
There's no Danny in chat.
Yep, there hasn't been.
That's odd.
Be amazed.
Yeah, he's not around. Like I've never seen him in my chat when I've been here. You know, like is the little boy scared? Are you scared, Danny? I'm asking.
He was on the weather report going after John earlier today. Pretty heavily.
He's not banned anymore, unless you ban him again.
No, he was here the other night. He was in the live chat the other night. And then he was begging Rage to let him in, and then I answered as the Rage because I was running the stream.
You told me about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, oh yeah, I'll send you a link right away.
And that's awesome. Thank you. Remember Sammy Jenkins chose this stream over Matt Dillahunty on MDD. We're going to be wrapping it up. That'll be something to listen to as I continue my cleaning today. I've been cleaning all day. John, like when I talked to John this morning, I was cleaning, and I'm still cleaning.
Yeah, I think that you could literally, if you wanted to, you could eat off of Knox toilet seats.
Especially now, dude.
Yeah,
like, I have to keep moving now because of the cigarette thing. One of these days, it might be normal. It's not fucking normal.
So, all right, there's definitely going to be a part 3, and I don't even remember how long this went on. It might even be a part 4. We'll get the gang.
Yeah,
back.
like I said, 10 parts.
Part 5, 6, 7. Yeah.
And then we're gonna do something tomorrow, right? Knock?
Yeah, I'm thinking like an open room. I haven't had one in a while. So
I think Danny should wear a hockey mask like Jason.
Oh God, why?
So Danny can come in tomorrow and defend himself. I'll be here.
What time do you think you guys are going to do that open room?
Let me think. What time's good for you, John? I mean, not too late because we're both old and we need our sleep.
Yeah, I mean, probably the same time is good for me.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, because I think my brother's planning on doing. I don't know if he's going to actually go through with it, but Saturday is like his slapstick Saturday.
What time does
he usually goes earlier, doesn't he?
Yeah. I mean, for us, it's always going to be earlier usually, but yeah, it just kind of depends on like when he gets around to it. Yeah.
I think we said Danny's name one too many times.
Hey,
is he here?
Yeah, he just showed up.
He's like, is he one of those? You talk, you start really talking shit and calling him out, and there he goes. He's probably been here the whole time. He just hasn't been talking.
Yeah, I'm going to actually give Danny some advice because he came in and he's like, did I miss the show? What you need to do is do what Paul Rubens did, Pee Wee Herman, after he got outed for masturbating in a porno theater in L.A. Like he shows up on the MTV Movie Awards like the year later, and he walks out onto the stage in Pee Wee Herman, the Pee Wee Herman suit and everything, and just looks across the audience like, anybody heard any good jokes? Fucking brilliant. Fucking brilliant. He was automatically forgiven for that one statement. It was brilliant.
Yeah,
that was better than Jesus Christ's salvation. Like that's how quickly he redeemed himself. Like, holy.
And then the other thing is about Paul Rubens is I like his Pee Wee Herman character. He's always like that, but he's a hell of an actor too. He's been in a lot of different movies, and you might not.
He's great in Blow. Yeah, he's fucking awesome.
Yep.
I mean, can you blame him? The popcorn can be so warm in the movie theaters.
And you've already got all that butter on your hands. You know, there's the lube right there. Warm, slick lubricant. Smells like a carnival. You can't stop yourself.
Hey, so there's a few of us in here that are probably old enough to remember. It used to be you'd have to go to the movie theater to watch porn, and they had a kid. All the movie theaters, porn movie theaters, had one kid whose job was to go in after the movie and clean the back of the seats off.
Yep.
Oh God, that poor kid. Yeah, wasn't that what fedoras were for? So that no one could identify you by the shape of your head. Wow, it was basically the dorsal fin of a pervert. Like there goes the lonely man right there.
Well, okay. Well, maybe not only lonely men went in there.
But yeah, it's not even that. It's just like I need to release these poisons, and I'm not going to be satisfied until I blast them into the back of a chair that a young child has to clean off. Because that's the kind of man I am.
That's disturbing.
Is the floor sticky because of spilled soda, or?
All right, so I do think it's time to wrap up. Thank you guys for coming. I don't know, John. If you guys do this on another channel, or if we do this here again, let me know. I'll probably try to show up. This was fun. I'll not be so combative. I won't drink coffee, so I'll probably not be so talkative.
Wait a minute! I just thought of another reason why they wore the fedoras.
Oh God!
Because there was probably some high shooters in there.
Well, oh God! Well, or there's people that want to be high shooters, so instead of putting it in the bottom, what they do is they bank it off the boat surface along the top, pew pew, so they can get some arc and lift. Yeah. Either way, that hat. I mean, the only thing that would be better is if it was leather. If you see a pervert walk into a porno theater with a leather like slicked up fedora, that guy's using that thing to launch loads off of.
Well, no, if he walks in there with a hat that looks like a leather fedora, it just means that it used to be a cloth hat, and he had been there before.
Oh God! Oh Jesus! How did I know you were going to do that? Oh yeah.
I know you're from my neck of the woods now, Jefferson, because you said pew pew. Like I know you know them. Here we have, there's bird hunters here in Michigan everywhere. And they when they shoot their birds, ejaculate, they always say pew pew, and it's like, oh man, I fucking hate that shit.
I didn't even realize I had internalized that, but yeah, we are from the same neck of the woods, so yeah.
Knock. I gotta plug something, can I?
Oh, go for it. Yeah, all of you plug your channels, and then we'll roll out of here.
Okay, so Answers in Atheism. So a couple weeks ago, Otangelo brought a paper, and we totally kicked his ass on the paper. Well, for some reason, he wants me and him to read that paper tomorrow. So I don't do weather reports anymore on Saturday and Sunday because I have to take a fucking break. So we're going to do that tomorrow at 2 p.m. with Otangelo. He's going to show me how this paper where he got his ass kicked is really in his favor. So
wait a minute. Are you talking about the paper that he brought to us and then said it was biased after we caught him out on it?
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that one. He wants to do it again.
I forgot to tell you, I wanted to tell you this, Speed, since you deal with him, I think, more often than anybody else that I know on YouTube. But Otangelo he's been sending me some comments on one of the last videos that I did. And it's like his explanation of like faith, like it's like I think it's like his like whole like apologetics like thing. And there's so many contradictions in it that I almost can't keep track of it. So if you're interested in it, check out the comment stream in the one. I think it's the one that I titled "God is a nice / awful guy." And take a look at those. You've probably seen a lot of those arguments already, but like when I was looking at them, I'm like, holy shit, this stuff. Some of it's just completely tangential, but then I'm pretty sure he contradicts like his definition of faith twice. It's amazing.
Yeah, I even commented on his post, like, good God, I thought I'd write essays.
Yeah, he did. That was the first comment after his first post. And his first post is long. His second post is even longer. It's just like, dude, what the hell, man?
I've written essays before on YouTube. They're deleted now, but whatever. Oh, actually, not all of them. But
I think Simon's just trying to get in, and we can't.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's okay. I just wanted to move it on because you guys seem to just get diverted. Oh look, parrot. Oh look,
Yeah, squirrel.
I blame it on the legalization of marijuana here in Michigan.
I wish.
I blame it on.
We can't even forget about reviewing the taking 2 hours to review 4 minutes of video. We can't even say goodbye fast.
It took 40 minutes to end the video. Yeah, props to Simons for pointing that out. Like, can you guys even wrap something up?
Of the video that we've just been watching and of Angelo in the same sentence, I would just say something like, hang on a second, I would just say, grazie mille tutte.
What?
Well, let me. Speed! I am going to kick your ass tomorrow at 2:00.
Oh yeah. Thank you.
And on my channel tomorrow, I've got a deathmatch event going on, so tune in for Daisy, exciting Daisy, and on all of that, Simus Funk at YouTube or whatever the fucking thing is.
What time is that?
I don't know, dude. Probably about 2:00 in the afternoon, sometime in the afternoon, your time.
Is that Central Time?
If you like.
That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing with Angelo.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I'll be streaming in cross.
No, sorry.
Trust me. I've only got four viewers, so don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Jeff, did you look at the private chat at all?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, cool.
Oh, do you guys want to be alone?
Yeah, I have a question for you too, Jefferson, in private. So
Okay, well, if the two of you want to hang back, Speed, go ahead, answer your question. Unless you need total privacy, and then that can get complicated.
It sounds like it's going to be a three. It sounds like it's going to be a three-way.
Yeah, I'm starting to feel like I'm being plotted against.
I just have
to wear your fedoras.
Okay, we're done.
Anybody else need to plug anything? Got anything going on?
I don't. I think Jay Panic might be going live tomorrow. If he doesn't have enough hours, I might be doing it so that we can do his like Saturday slapstick thing. But that's going to depend on whether or not he kind of feels like it. So that might be happening early afternoon ish Eastern Standard Time. So maybe keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, and if for some reason he decides to go later, hit me up with a DM, and maybe we can, so we're not going against one another,
Yeah, I mean, if you guys are planning on doing something around 7:00, we wouldn't. I don't think we'd do anything that late.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 7:00. 7:00 my time would be what? Well, no, I mean it could be. Well, but he usually doesn't push that late.
Yeah, 7:00 my time is 7:00 your time.
Right, but I mean, in his case, like if he procrastinates and doesn't like kind of get like an early start on it, like then occasionally he'd kind of like bite into the evening hours for us. But yeah, it's just going to depend on how he feels about it. He might just postpone it, so we'll see. But yeah, I'll definitely let you know either way.
As far as like plugging things, sounds like maybe Midnight, Jefferson, and Speed are going to be plugging some things backstage.
Hey yo.
We'll see.
You guys are nutcases.
You'll never know.
I know somebody who likes to plug things.
Okay.
Well, this was a lot of fun. Thank you guys for being here, and next time, hopefully I can join. This was a lot of fun. I am thinking about trying to start doing this a little bit more. I know I don't want to go back to like a daily thing. I want streams to get back to like the open rooms, and occasionally I don't know. I'm still figuring shit out, but you'll see me a little bit more moving forward. I said that last week, and then I just like exited the internet. But yeah, that's I needed that. But I'm gonna be back.
Yeah, you got some that you're dealing with.
It's been really, really hectic. So, psychologically, I've got some videos coming out. Like, the whole smoking thing, like, this is, like, the hardest fucking thing I've ever tried to do. And I'm jittery. I can't sit still. I can't, it's fucking a nightmare. And I started smoking like way before most people start smoking, and then I started smoking like for real, probably around 17 years old, like every day, and it's a psychological nightmare that I'm going through right now. So I stream like tonight. I felt pretty calm, and the coffee brought back the jitters. So yeah, maybe not the coffee next time.
Now, I just want to point something out to everybody. Okay, that I find very interesting. Okay, Doc was talking about like having a bad time psychologically lately, and he referred to the smoking. Notice he didn't mention one word about the spot they just found on his lungs. Now, if that's not a testimony to how fucked up it is to quit smoking, I don't know what is.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, I was talking like I started like sleepwalking, and I've heard stories about Chantix, and I also heard it about the gum and shit. And I'm starting to think like maybe it's not any of those medications. Maybe smoking just fucks you up so much that when you try to stop it, you're just fucked, and you do really fucking weird shit. Because
actually,
I've never sleepwalked ever, and I've been sleepwalking.
Yeah, Rage, I can actually give you an explanation of that. It'd probably bore the hell out of the audience that's watching. But if you want a quick rundown of what actually happens, kind of briefly, when you quit, especially if you quit cold turkey, I can let you know once we go offline.
Yeah, well, I'm experiencing it.
I've also quit cold turkey after 45 years of smoking.
I don't stop chewing this fucking gum, man. This gum, I don't stop sucking on this gum. It's nonstop.
Okay. Anyway, thank you so much for inviting us on, John and Rage. Do appreciate that.
Yep, it was a pleasure.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
Yeah. All right, yada yada yada. Be the conversation.
All of that. So I'm gonna run some music. So no talking for like a minute. As we get out of here, you will hear the music.
Sorry.
All right, so let me actually get it. Let me get it ready. That would be nice. So.
Sir. Sorry, sir.
Yeah.
Sorry, sir.